welcome to a new episode of the Josh Zodiac Podcast, the greatest wrestling podcast you've never heard of. This is the podcast that, now that we know that Rhea has had knee surgery, can we take the interim off of Chelsea Green's title run now and make her the actual champion? WWE, can we make that happen?
I wouldn't be against that idea.
I wouldn't be either. And again, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Josh Zodiac Podcast. If this is your first time here, welcome. Make sure you like, subscribe, and hit the follow button and hit that bell notification. I know some of y'all are watching the show and not subscribing. I see you in the analytics. I know who you are. You should be following the show. It's free. Anyway,
shoulda, woulda, coulda.
The Psycho Nerd, repeat movie viewer, all that fun shit. Of course, the Psycho Nerd. Even though he doesn't watch WWE, he does like to dip back in the time machine and go back to older shows. And since we don't have a PLE in WWE for another, 2 months, it's going to be interesting the next 2 months. It's going to be a lot of reviews of old shit versus new shit.
And maybe WWE will have enough time to build up some more storylines.
See, that's my thought process too. Is that we had some people return. We'll just talk briefly. Of course, Becky's back. Stephanie Verkera's back. Of course, Kevin Owens back and took Finn Balor's championship spot. We won't talk about that. You know, we are big supporters of the Irish competitors here on the Zodiac Podcast. So,
yes, very much so. Very
yes,
much.
we do love our Irish kinfolk. We do love them very, very much. That being said, hopefully the stories they build up for Money in the Bank in October will make sense.
Not to mention the Survivor Series.
Yeah, but that's like a month and a half after, so I'm not really worried about that one. But for the time
I
being,
just want to see some war games.
Yeah, and it's going to be in Houston too, so maybe you'll have to sell an arm and a leg to get tickets for it. You never know. You know.
Well, let me just get started with sawing off my
no shit.
I'll get on that.
For the time being, and we talked about this. We were going to talk about this week on the Wrestling Rewind, but we ran out of time. So we'll touch base on it next week on the Rewind. But here on the Zodiac Podcast, we're going to jump head first into the pool. That is WWE Money in the Bank 2017 on June 18th, 2017 from St. Louis, Missouri at the Scott Trade Center, an attendance of 15,392. There is no buy rate on here. Now, I want to ask, why do you think there's no buy rate on here?
Maybe because of the, what was it, the app or whatever?
The who?
You know, the
network?
The network, thank you.
Ding, ding, ding. There you go. There was no more pay-per-views. This is when they were started calling them premium live events, was around this time. So, yes, there were these newer PLEs, pay-per-views, whatever you want to call them. They just stopped doing the buyouts because, yeah, streaming is a whole different animal, apparently.
Pretty much.
Now, for commentary, a little unorthodox. No Michael Cole, which is always a good thing because I'm not the biggest fan of Michael Cole. But we got JBL, Byron Saxton. I could do without Byron Saxton too, by the way. And Todd Phillips. Not the A game when it comes to commentary. Although JBL is as a heel commentator, he's fun to watch.
Yeah, he's a good heel commentator.
He's a good heel commentator. Byron Saxton is kind of boring.
I think bland is the word you're looking for.
Bland.
No, no offense to the guy, but yeah, just not.
He's very vanilla, and I don't mean that in any other way, but he's just bland, boring. Although when Byron and Corey Graves would do commentary together with Cole, it was always fun to hear the banter between the two because Corey would just own that guy every chance he got.
Pretty much.
Why do we pick this particular Money in the Bank? Because, again, we have Money in the Bank coming up in 2 months, but I picked this one in particular because this was the first time that we had a woman's Money in the Bank ladder match. So it seemed only appropriate to dig back in history and see and try to remember what it was like with the first set of females that were set to participate in this particular ladder match. And I can tell you right now, looking at the list, I think there was only one, maybe two of these women that have ever actually won the briefcase, maybe, besides the winner of the match.
Looking at the names again, I'm going to say you are more than likely correct.
Yeah. So again, we'll talk about the first women's Money in the Bank ladder match for the contract that guarantees you a title shot at any given time that you see fit. So we first have Tamina, Natalya, Carmella, and of course Becky Lynch and Charlotte Flair, half of the 4 horsewomen. Curious why Sasha Banks was not in this match. She might have been hurt. I didn't think to look if she was injured.
I didn't either. I was curious about that because not only is this the first Money in the Bank, but this is only 6 months away from the first female Royal Rumble as well. So,
Yes, that's
and I,
true.
and I know, as I recall, Sasha Banks was number one. So
She might have been hurt, maybe. I
I'm
don't
curious.
know.
Yeah, I could look that one up later on and find out. But yeah,
Yeah, that's fine. But again, of the only one person this entire group has won the Money in the Bank ladder contract. Jeez, my allergies are kicking my ass this week. I'll tell you right now. The weather's been weird.
it comes.
Allergies are being stupid. So, but yeah, we got Charlotte, Becky, Carmella, Natalia, and Tamina. I'm going to say this. They really wasted a lot of Natalia's time. She should have been a champion more often than she was. And she's a great talent. She's, awesome. She was in the fucking dungeon. I mean, come on. How fucking awesome is that? I think she was the first and only female to do it, by the way.
She is definitely one of the better female competitors in the last 15 or however long she's been there. She's been there a while. Very long time. But
yeah,
as far as I'm concerned, she's proven time and time again that she is a great talent. And I've always wondered why, after all these years, maybe because of all the years that she's been there, that she's more trying to push other up-and-comers as opposed to taking the spotlight herself. But you still can't help but feel like, well, maybe she could have won once or twice along the way, just kind of throw her a bone every once in a while.
Agreed.
But if we're talking about people that didn't get a whole lot of chops, let's talk about Tamina. Because the beginning of this match, she had a pretty strong performance early on in this match, and I can't help but feel like that was such a wasted effort because I feel like she wasn't half bad in the ring. She never won the big title ever.
Nope, never.
So, and I feel like that's a goddamn shame, personally. So
I think a big chunk of it, and this is just my take on it, might have been who her father was, possibly, and all the allegations behind him. Maybe. Just saying.
It is a possibility, and it's one of those things I wish that if that were the case, it's something they could just overlook and ignore that and just let her win based on who she is or what she can do versus what her, father may have done in the past.
Well, think of it this way. What if Chris Benoit's son came in WWE and wanted a push? Do you think they'd give him a push? Knowing what happened to Benoit's family?
He had nothing to do with that.
Doesn't matter. He still got the name. He still got the name, and the name alone, as well as I do, the name says it all. Again, we're speculating. We're not 100% sure. That's just how we're looking at it. But Psycho, what are your takeaways from this first women's Money in the Bank ladder match?
I would say it was, as far as ladder matches go, it was a subtle match. I mean, there wasn't any extreme gore. There was no extreme violence, no blood or anything like that. I feel like with this one, it was more a battle of athletic talents versus how badly you could bludgeon and bloody up your opponent kind of ladder match, which I don't have a problem with. It really gave, as far as I'm concerned, it gave all the females an opportunity to wrestle throughout the match before, they inevitably try to climb the ladder a million times over till we finally get a winner. But that brings me to the finale of this match.
I knew it was coming.
Now, I remember exactly where I was when I was watching this pay-per-view. I was actually at work, that location out in Ingleside. When I was out there in the middle of nowhere. And I was pissed. I was seriously pissed off. I was like, how the hell are you going to have the first ever female Money in the Bank ladder match and have a male be the guy that goes up, grabs it, and throws it to Carmella? What the fuck? That, at the time, I was super seriously pissed off about it. How do I feel about it now?
That's a good question.
I still think it's bullshit, being that it's the first female ladder match. I feel like it taints the match, or at least the finale, just a little bit. However, I can't ignore the impact that it made at the time, and that's the final thing I'll say about that.
Yeah, that's fair because they really didn't know what to do with James Ellsworth when he came in. He's not really a wrestler. He's not even really a manager. He was just kind of like a groupie for Carmella.
Basically, yeah.
And I think this was at the time, right at the end of her relationship with Big Cass, when Corey Graves kind of swooped in and took. Well, took is probably a harsh word. He acquired Carmella's love and affection. And I know we're not going to talk about Raw, but Big Cass is actually back in WWE. And when they've been teasing it for a while. And when Big Cass came out there and attacked Javon Evans on Raw this past week, normally Corey Graves has something to say. Not even a peep. He was quiet which is unorthodox. And I'm watching this going, did Corey get up and leave? Because he was fucking quiet. And somebody else in the TikTok live was like, well, think about it. Corey Graves kind of stole Carmella from him. And I'm like, yeah, okay, I get it. But I guess you don't want to ruffle feathers, which I totally get.
Some people still take shit personal after a long period of time.
Well, that was like 8 years ago, though, too. So, yeah,
Mhm.
It is what it is. But as you said, Ellsworth gets the briefcase, tosses it down to Carmella. She starts crying. Oh my God, I won the briefcase. It would be short-lived, though. Even though Carmella won it, then general manager on SmackDown, Daniel Bryan, addressed it the following Tuesday. He stripped Carmella of the Money in the Bank contract and said they will have another ladder match the following week. Ellsworth is banned from ringside. She ended up acquiring it on her own, which is fine.
You know what? I'm okay with that.
I'm okay with that, but that's what they should have done from the very beginning. That was just a waste of a slot. You know what I mean? I mean, you could have had it to where one of the girls knocked Ellsworth off the ladder. I think that would have made more sense.
See, and I think it was done because of the impact it made, because it got people talking. It was a big controversy. People were bitching, like me. I was bitching and moaning. A lot of other people were at the same time. It caused a huge freaking ruckus.
Yeah.
I'm willing to bet that's exactly why they did that, just to change it a couple days later. So, but oh well, if she went on her own, then I take that for what it is. Okay, fine.
Yeah, and again, like I said, she ended up, they had all the same players back in the match again, and she was able to win it on her own this second time. So more power to her. If I remember correctly, she cashed in on Charlotte, I believe. I don't remember.
I want to agree with that, but it's been so damn long, I can't remember.
And I don't feel like
that sounds about right.
So yeah, we're not gonna do that right now. So yeah, Carmella is your first Miss Money in the Bank, and in the history books, and she won it twice, the same, and within a month. So even though she got stripped, she was able to win it back. So good for her. Moving on, we have a match for the WWE SmackDown Tag Team Championships. We have the Usos, who are your current champions, and this is the penitentiary era Usos. This is not the bright colored paint with the dance in the chant that we used to see. Now this is on the cusp of the bloodline. We're like 2 years away from the bloodline at this point. So versus one of the most over tag teams in not just WWE, but wrestling history, the New Day. I'm sorry.
I love the New
You
Day.
don't appreciate what you don't have until you don't have it. The New Day, and I saw something about this recently, that when Big E got hurt, the New Day just wasn't the same.
No, it wasn't.
Now, I think they fumbled. WWE fumbled that, because they could have had it to where Big E was their manager. He still goes out there. He still has a good time. He still cuts promos. He just can't wrestle. They fumbled that. They could have totally done that and gotten away with it. Them turning heel on Big E, I did not agree with that. I thought that was stupid. I mean, the group would have broken up, but it's like, why? They were great together. And
For my
they
money,
had the Freebird role too, so anyone could defend the title. So fuck it, why not?
For my money, them turning heel felt desperate. I don't know because
It
they
did.
really weren't. They weren't doing anything at the time. They weren't even over with the crowd that much anymore. So it was like, oh, let's try something different.
Again, like I said, Big E gone kind of took a big, took all the wind out of their sails. So they really had nothing else to do but go, yeah, we're going to turn heel and we're going to be dicks. And I'm like, it just wasn't the same. It just was yuck.
So yeah, if you guys could turn heel, that'd be great.
I could see Triple H with that coffee mug. Yeah. And if you could sign those TSP reports tomorrow, that'd be great. But Usos in the New Day, they always butted heads.
Yeah.
They were at one time the only two real tag teams that we had in WWE for a while. You know what I mean? And I've argued this before, and I'm going to argue it again. There is a deficiency of true tag teams in UE. Don't see that in AEW. They have a shitload of tag teams, which is great. WWE has to go as far as to put, let's see. We have Damian Priest. Okay, who can we put him with? R-Truth's not doing anything. Let's put him with, dude, what the fuck? I mean, they're great together, don't get me wrong. But it's like,
if it wasn't for R-Truth following around the Judgment Day for as long as he did, I'm willing to accept it because of that. But otherwise, I'd be like, what the hell? But as long as they work well together, it's definitely opposites attract kind of thing.
Agreed. But let's talk about this match. What were your takeaways from this championship match?
I don't know. I didn't think it was that interesting of a match at first for about 7-8 minutes or so. And then eventually it starts to kick up. It got a little bit more interesting. There was more double teaming going on. for the record, I still love watching Xavier or hearing it with the fucking trombone. I never get tired of it. The fucking sound effects and shit.
I've never been happier to be a trombone player than watching him do that.
But I mean, it took a little while to kind of build up speed, but once it did, it definitely got interesting, especially being a championship match. In the beginning, there was a point where Kofi was kept isolated from Big E for a good while.
Yep.
Always smart and fun to watch during a tag team. And as far as I'm concerned, this was such a chicken shit way for the Usos to win the match by just grabbing their freaking titles and just peace.
Nice knowing you.
Yeah. Bye, Felicia. Out.
But again, they're the heels. They're going to do that, and that's fine. And I think at this point, the New Day had already had like 10 tag reigns at this point. So at this point, it's like, okay, can we get somebody else in the tag division at this point? Seriously? Anybody? Can we get Sean and Marty Jannetty back together? Can we put them and see what they can do with it?
Well, I'm sure Marty's not doing much of anything.
No, I'm pretty sure he isn't. But yeah, I agree. This was a match that it was kind of a cop-out way. It was an entertaining match for what it was, but I would have preferred to see somebody actually get the victor versus just the champs going. And this is classic bloodline that we'll see in 2 years, 3 years, actually.
And that's exactly how I felt.
This was a HBO weekend preview of what with things to come, And now a sign of things to come. Yo, fuck you. We're the Usos. We're out. Eat. Oh, this is before eating. Oh my God.
Oh, it's way before eating.
It was a beautiful time. Yeah, such a beautiful time before eating was around. Now, this next match I could have done without. This match didn't need to be on this card. It was a waste of time. That is, of course, your WWE SmackDown Women's Championship, Lana versus Naomi. Oh my God, where do I even begin? And this is with Lana, whose Russian accent disappeared as often as Kofi's Jamaican accent disappeared. I'm just saying, I got a question. As a matter of fact, I got a problem. Didn't you used to be Jamaican? This match was boring. Let's be real.
First off, Lana screams more than Kim Basinger in Batman. Just throwing that out there.
Damn.
But you know what? I do love the opening where Lana's like all dancing in the middle of the ring and she gets beat the hell up for her trouble. That was awesome. I was like, can I watch that on loop for about 2 minutes? That would be fun. That'd be great. You know what? I did have trouble getting into this match, but I actually watched it twice the second time and tried to pay attention a little bit better.
You tortured yourself? Why would you do that to yourself?
And the best I can really say about this one is that I'm a little surprised that Lana was actually kind of able to hold her own to a degree throughout the match. Not, I wouldn't say she wowed me or anything like that, but she managed to keep up, and I got to give credit for that. But as far as the ending of the match, Carmella's distraction was completely expected. She just won the Money in the Bank. Yeah. What's the bet? Great mind games, as far as I'm concerned, to go out there, make your presence known, fuck with the champion's head a little bit. It's a good idea. But she didn't get involved. She didn't cash in the briefcase, but her distraction was enough to let Naomi retain the title. So
I'll put my disdain for Lana on the shelf for you by saying this. I'd rather watch Nikki Bella wrestle than Lana. And that should tell you everything.
Ooh,
it is well documented here that I am not a Nikki Bella fan, and I get a lot of shit for it. I just don't think she's as good as people make her out to be. They should not be in the Hall of Fame. They did nothing to contribute. Oh, she had the longest Divas championship reign. That was despite AJ Lee and CM Punk. That was just spite is what that was.
It's hard to argue that point based on
it really is. I mean, you sent the man divorce papers on his wedding day. You sent him his release papers on his wedding day. How fucked up is that? And you'll notice that CM Punk didn't go back to WWE until Vince was gone because he knew him and Hunter could work it out. Him and Vince probably. Vince never believed in CM Punk. Never did. Never thought he could do it.
No, because he's always had a penchant for big, strong, heavyweight type characters versus the little guy who could, like the little engine that could type of idea. You know what I mean? But It's like, look at Shawn Michaels. He was never the biggest guy. He's one of the greatest the company has ever had. Bret Hart, my personal favorite, great technical wrestler. He wasn't the biggest guy in the company. Sometimes you got Stone Cold Steve Austin. I mean, he's muscular, but he's not like, wow, like Hogan.
He's not Kevin Nash. He's not Hulk Hogan. He's not the Ultimate Warrior. He's not Randy Savage.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But he was a great character for what
all of these dudes from the golden era.
Yeah. We'll go all day on that shit.
Yeah, we could go all day with that. But again, this match was boring. This match could have happened on SmackDown. It didn't need to happen on a PLE. Take it out. Go away.
I can't argue that point. I found it to be very low-winded and boring. just couldn't get into it.
Speaking of things that did need to be on this show, we get, yeah. Speaking of things we don't need, we see the return of Maria. She comes out with her husband, Mike and Maria Canales. And I wrote in my notes, who cares? Question mark, question mark, question mark. Who the fuck cares? They didn't do shit when they literally came back, had like 1 or 2 feuds, and then they were done. So yeah. I'm not even going to waste any more time about them on this show, because it was a waste of time them being there, and it's a waste of time talking about it. Next match.
Well, I had 2 things I wanted to say, but
go ahead. Say what you got to say. Go ahead.
Well, it was her first appearance on WWE television since December 2009, so pretty lengthy amount of time.
7 years.
And yeah, and quite frankly, their mic skills were terrible, both of them.
Yeah, they were bad.
I'm sorry to say that, but they were really cringeworthy. Anyway, there we go.
I mean, I'm no master of the promo, but I can cut a decent promo if I'm motivated enough. And I was like, the fuck is this?
They made William Shatner sound like a Shakespearean actor.
I'm cutting a promo. Or you sound like Chris Walken. I'm cutting a promo on you because I want to cut a promo on, I don't do a very good Christopher Walken accent.
I wish I could do
I really don't.
Chris Walken. I wish.
I need more cowbell, I think, to get that impression down.
Gotta have more cowbell, baby.
This next match, I'm sorry. For me, this was the match of the night. And I know because of who's in it, people are going, oh no, Jinder Mahal was actually a better champion than most people we've had in the past couple of years. And I'm talking about Roman. I'm sorry. At least Jinder Mahal he had his cronies, but he didn't try to hide. You know what I mean? He was a fighting champion. He defended it quite often until he lost it.
Yeah, actually, as I recall, he did.
That being said, we have the WWE Championship. We have Randy Orton versus Jinder Mahal, and this is Jinder Mahal's first title defense since winning it.
From Randy Orton.
And lo and behold, because we're in St. Louis, guess what? We got a whole bunch of oldies in the crowd, including his dad, Cowboy Bob Orton, Ric Flair, and Ted Hutt, Mr. Sergeant Slaughter himself. I love Sergeant Slaughter. He's such a great dude.
Such an icon.
Wish I'd got that action figure when I was a kid. I always wanted the Sergeant Slaughter action figure. Never got it.
I had that in that little tank thing that he rolled around in. I got that for Christmas one year. I don't know what the hell ever happened to it. I know, it was great.
Fucker. Anywho, Randy Orton versus Jinder Mahal, WWE Championship. Your thoughts?
First off, with Jinder Mahal, I'm going to say that, you know what? I didn't think it was that bad. I don't think it was that big of a deal that he was a champion. I know a lot of people bitched and moaned about it back then. It never bothered me. So you know what?
You're giving it to some. They still bitch about it today.
They do. And it's like, you know what? Why? You're giving somebody new, somebody else who hasn't held the title 13 times already. You know what I mean? But it's like you're giving someone else an opportunity to carry it around for a while. There's nothing wrong with that. He ran with it for a few months. He was an okay champion,
and he was a heel. And he was a heel champion. Well, he was a jobber. He was in 3MB. Okay, who the fuck? You know who else was in 3MB? Drew McIntyre. He was a jobber at one point. Look at him now. Come on. Just saying.
That's true. But I didn't think this match was terrible. I just didn't think it was stupendous or great. It was a decent, very moderate championship match. I dare say kind of a vanilla match. I mean, you got Orton taking control for a little while. He's still pretty angry about losing the freaking title, but then he tweaks his knee on the outside at some point. Jinder Mahal, being the smart fucking champion, attacks the leg, and he does that for a good amount of time. Smart wrestling as far as I'm concerned. Jinder, he didn't do anything throughout the match that really stood out, that really wowed me or anything. And that was my only real main complaint about it. It's like, dude, you're the champion. Let's see some good power moves or something. But I don't know. He didn't really contribute too much. The match really didn't get that interesting until the finale.
Yep.
When the cronies, I think you call them cronies, they get involved, they get caught, they get ejected. They end up starting a fight with the oldies, specifically Cowboy Bob Orton. Big no-no. Randy Orton takes them both out with an RKO. One of them is on the outside, the other one on the table. And then he gets back in the ring just long enough to get taken out by Jinder to lose the fucking match. You know what? At least
you never take your eye off the prize.
Yeah, pretty much. What's funny is that Jinder laid on the outside for a good while all that action was going on, because he got an RKO before that. I remember that. And he just lies out in the ring for a while. It was like, you know how sometimes you get one of those ref bumps and they lie on the ground for like 5 minutes straight. And you're like, dude, are you ever going to get back up? Like, what the hell? They clocked you. Big deal. So
he pulled the rope-a-dope. He pulled the Rocky Balboa. If you hit him enough, he'll get tired. Then you just swoop in and take the shot, and you're done.
Smart.
Speaking of Rocky, I can't wait to see that I Play Rocky movie. That looks interesting. I know that's totally off subject from what we're talking about, but it looks interesting. I can't wait.
You mentioned Rocky, might as well bring it up.
Yeah,
that movie looks really good.
See, for me, my big thing is that anybody can be. It's like football. Anybody can win. Anybody can be champion. The big thing is if you're over with the crowd, if you're a babyface, or if you're just hated as a heel. I think we've forgotten that because Jinder Mahal was a heel. Randy Orton has teetered that line more times than I care to count. I think the only person that has more heel turns than Randy Orton is the Big Show and Nikki Bella. Those are the only two people besides. And Big Show did it like all the time. Like on one episode of Raw, I'm a bad guy. On this one, I'm a good guy. I'm a bad guy. Fucking make up your mind, dude.
Exactly,
Seriously.
dude. For real.
And Nikki turning on Paige shocked nobody.
No.
Shot heard around the world, but nobody cared. Like, who cares?
No. We all saw it coming a mile away. Seriously.
But Jinder Mahal and Randy would feud for a while. They even had, oh my God, what was the name of that match? They had it in India, that Lukabi prison or the prison match.
I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
They had that.
I do.
As a matter of fact, I think Randy won that match. I don't remember who won.
Look it up.
I don't remember who won, to be honest with you.
This is not when my knowledge about the company is that great, because this is around the time that Roman Reigns.
Oh, here it is right here. The following week, Commissioner Shane McMahon granted Orton a rematch for the title at Battleground, but allowed Mahal to choose a stipulation, and he chose a Punjabi prison match. So, yeah, if I remember correctly, Jinder won that match. He was able to continue on as champion. And I just one thing to say to people that are hating on Jinder Mahal: don't hinder the Jinder. He was a better champion. We're looking back and focusing on the negative. He was a breath of fresh air.
I agree. I think he was.
Somebody different got to hold the title. At that point, it was either Randy, Triple H. This is a couple years after, but CM Punk, John Cena, the same dudes kept holding the title. And it's like, dude, we need some new blood. And we're having the same problem now.
Yeah.
Cody Rhodes, Seth Rollins. I'm going to put CM Punk in there because he's held it 3 times now.
Mm-hmm.
Or no, twice. I take it back.
He's held it his fair share now, as opposed to 10 years ago.
We've had the same people the past 4 or 5 years that have held the belts, and it's like, when do we get the Boba Femi got fucked, but we're going to give him a Hell in a Cell match against Brock Lesnar. That's great. I would have been okay if they put the title on Brock one more time just so Oba could win it from him. That would have been okay with me. If Brock somehow was able to say, you know what, I'm taking the belt from somebody. I don't care who it is. And he takes it off of some and mop the floor with Brock. Or not Brock, Roman or CM Punk, doesn't matter who.
I prefer Roman.
Yeah, same here. Although CM Punk is kind of teetering that line between heel and babyface again, but I'm all for it. The point I'm trying to make here is that this was a reinsurgence of new blood into the championship scene, and we may shit on it now, but at the time it was welcome and it needed to happen. History is repeating itself again because we need new people holding the titles, not the same I'm tired of Seth Rollins holding. I'm tired of Roman Reigns holding it. Damian Priest, I'd be okay with him having it again. You know what I mean? He's not young, but he's only held it once. And I think he's a much better talent than people are giving him credit for.
Mm-hmm. And as far as Roman, he held it for over 4 years in a fucking row, dude. As far as I'm concerned, he doesn't need it anymore. That's
I agree. 100%. It's hard to be, it's like the whole Jade Cargill thing. I'm that bitch. You can say that when you don't defend the title. It's easy to say you're that person if you don't defend it. Mm-hmm. Again, we're not here to bash Jade. That's another show.
No, I love Jade.
No, I'm still, whatever. Anyway, next match, and this is just a regular tag match. We did have a little skit with one of your favorite wrestlers.
Fuck.
I can't play the music because I get a copyright strike.
Go. Yeah, well.
No, you can't even do that. You'll get a copyright strike for that too. But we had Breezango, which is Fandango and Tyler Breeze versus the Ascension. I want to say this about the Ascension, if I may. Awesome tag team in NXT. Got called to the main roster. Same with the Vaudevillains. They were great tag team in NXT. Main roster, they were done. Just that quick. This was a fairly quick match. What are your thoughts on this match?
you want to talk about matches that didn't need to be on the card. I think
Oh
this
yeah, I
fits the
forgot
bill
about that.
pretty damn well. Yeah, barely a 4-minute match that did not need to be on the card. I could have given two shits about this whole I tried to pay attention to it, but there wasn't anything that interesting outside of the Ascension kind of beating on Breezango for a while. But as I recall, Breeze and Fandango won. So I didn't even mark who won because I didn't give a shit.
It was Breezango. They won. Yeah.
Yeah, okay, that's what I figured.
And again, I mean, Tyler Breeze and Fandango as a tag team is brilliant. It's brilliant work. It's gimmick work at its best. But the Ascension should have been able to run with the New Day as far as one of the better tag teams in WWE at the time, and they didn't. And it sucks because they are such a great tag team. The same with Enzo and Cass. This is right around that time too, as well. And of course, the Ascension. There was quite a few really good tag team. Oh my God. I think they were gone by then. The ones that had the little bull, I fucking cannot remember their names.
I know who you're talking about.
Yeah, I cannot remember their names. But we had some pretty decent tag team talent, and nope, nothing. But that being said, moving on to the main event, and that is the men's Money in the Bank ladder match. I would like to say this was a stacked deck, but it's really not.
Nah, not
There's a couple
really.
of big names, a couple of ones I could live without. We have Sami Zayn versus Shinsuke Nakamura versus Kevin Owens versus Dolph Ziggler versus AJ Styles versus Baron Corbin. Sami Zayn, yeah, that's all I'm going to say about Sami Zayn. What, 10 title shots he hadn't in 8 years and finally won one and held it for 9 days? I will say if they were going to put the title on him, it should have been around this time in 2017. This is when they should have put that big title on him. And this is a time when they did it for Jinder. Why not do it for Sammy? I'd have been okay with it at this point because it would have made sense. Shinsuke Nakamura never got the shake he deserved in WWE. Him and Asuka both. In 6 months, they would win the Rumble matches respectively for themselves. And then when Asuka won, fucking Ronda Rousey had to come out there and point to the WrestleMania sign and be like, yeah, I'm in WWE and I'm stealing your thunder. I'm like, you're kind of a bitch because you don't do that. That's their moment and you just stole it from them. Not to mention Asuka tapping out. She had the longest female win streak in history and she tapped out to Charlotte. I'm still mad about that. And it's been a while. It's been 8 years and I'm still pissed.
Mm-hmm.
And Shinsuke just never got the shake he deserved. You know, him and AJ they always had legendary matches, not only here in WWE, but also in New Japan. Just for Shinsuke to turn heel on AJ and low blow, I'm like, both Rumble winners lose. I understand they're not guaranteed.
True, but I mean,
Asuka should have won.
That doesn't mean he didn't drop the fucking ball. I agree. To this day, I still think they dropped the ball.
Oh, big time on both of them. They both should have won. Mm-hmm. They both should have won. Kevin Owens, who is your United States champion, who is the moniker as the new face of America. You know, I am not the biggest Kevin Owens fan. You know this because you were there. But you have to respect the way to change your character around to be that heel character. Now, that being said, I know this kind of emulates what we just had at SummerSlam with the women's interim championship with the women's U.S. title, Tiffany Stratton in the match. I wasn't happy about that, but I'll say this. Tiffany's been in quite a few ladder matches. You put people that want to do ladder matches in there. It doesn't mean they're going to win. It just means they're there to entertain. Same with Kevin Owens. You know, he wasn't going to win this match. He's just there to entertain. So IWC, quit crying about it. They're there because they're entertaining you and you're complaining about it. Stop. Let them cook. Let them cook. It takes a minute. Of course, you got Dolph Ziggler, AJ Styles, and pre-haircut Baron Corbin. Before I hand the mic over to you, I'm going to say Baron Corbin actually attacked Shinsuke in the middle of Shinsuke's intro, takes him out. So Shinsuke doesn't show up right away. Then we go to the ring and we have our melee. Take it away from there.
Well, I do enjoy watching Sammy and KO fight throughout the match, not just for a minute. It goes on several times. And you know what? The best of friends and the worst of enemies. You know what I mean? Yeah. Those guys, they always end up gravitate back to each other at some point or another, no matter what the hell.
Even now.
Yeah, just recently. So there you go. Gotta love it. This match, I feel like, just like with the women's match, there wasn't a whole lot of like carnage candy going on. You know what I mean? This was a very subtle. There was some good usage of the ladder, but nothing too extreme, nothing that just kind of makes you sit there and cringe, like, oh, that makes my back hurt kind of shit. You know what I mean? Nothing like that. Nothing too extraneous. I do love AJ Styles at one point has got the briefcase and they pull the ladder away and he's dangling. For
Yeah.
a second, I'm like, wouldn't that be awesome if he actually won it right then and there? Because I don't want to see him fall from that height. You know what I mean?
But he did.
But he did. He sure did. It looked like it hurt like a bitch.
He landed hard on that shoulder. I'm surprised his shoulder didn't separate because that looked horrible. It looked ugly the way he hit.
Yep. And soon after that, Nakamura actually decides to come out at the 0 hour, single-handedly takes out just about everybody in the match. And you talked about him and AJ having some good time, some good fights together. They do a little bit of a stare down, and they do actually have a little bit of a fight before the match reaches its conclusion. So I greatly appreciate that too. It was a lot of fun. But Corbin ends up winning because I didn't remember. I couldn't remember who won this match. I'm like, was it Corbin? Or was it AJ? But when AJ fell, I was like, okay, now I'm rethinking this. So what are your thoughts about Corbin actually winning it?
Knowing that he cashed in and didn't didn't win, I was okay with it just because it was someone different. Again, the money in the bank and the Rumble are designed to give everybody a shot at the brass ring at the title. That's what it's designed for. And even the King of the Ring now, you can throw that. There's at least 3 opportunities that everybody has to get into the title picture. That's the Rumble, the King of the Ring, and of course, Money in the Bank. So I was okay. I mean, AJ was not far off from winning the title himself anyway. So it is what it is. Kevin Owens had the U.S. title. He wasn't going to win. Shinsuke was 6 months away from winning the Rumble. Probably not. And they have these things planned out. Honestly, I'd have been okay if Sami had won it. And I am not the biggest Sami Zayn fan, but I'll tell you what, the character we have now, he's annoying. He's a crybaby. And I literally want to punch him in his face half the time. I'm like, dude, stop talking. I don't like you. Sami Zayn 2017, I can get behind because, yeah, he is the underdog. Once you win the big title, you are no longer the underdog. You are done. That being said, Sami Zayn stopped being the underdog when he beat Gunther for the Intercontinental Championship at WrestleMania. That's when that stopped because he beat someone who nobody thought could be beaten. So,
especially being Gunther because he only lost a couple matches in his entire career.
Yeah, he's only lost like 3 or 4 matches, and he's only been pinned like twice. So yeah, so that speaks volumes. So Baron Corbin winning it, I'm okay with it. I would have been okay if it was Sami, maybe Dolph to a point. Then again, Dolph had one of the greatest cash-ins that I can remember, besides the Seth Rollins one. But yeah, I was okay with Baron Corbin winning it. You know, it is what it is, you know. But at the end of the day, it was a failed cash-in because I think he tried to cash it in on John Cena, if I remember correctly.
That sounds about right.
Didn't happen. He failed miserably.
Well, like you said, like winning the Rumble, it's not a guarantee.
But I thought about this when I was watching the show, about halfway through the show. I think part of the excitement of having a Money in the Bank contract floating around is missing right now because we don't have that. They were cashed in early last year and they were done. And what happened? One of them got hurt, had to relinquish the title. The other one got pregnant, had to relinquish the title. So they both had to relinquish the title for different reasons. So we've been going almost a year now without a Money in the Bank contract floating around. It adds to the excitement of who the champion is, and you can cash it on any time. I think once we get these 2 people, whoever it's going to be, we won't know who's in the match until another month and a half from now. It just adds excitement to the show, and I think that's missing.
Yeah. Not only that, but I question why is it they decided to push the PLE that was originally a July pay-per-view, typically, and moved it all the way to October all of a sudden.
That I couldn't. That's
interesting.
That I do not know. I didn't want to dig that deep in my research.
I just find it interesting that now we have Money in the Bank literally a month before Survivor Series, War Games. I mean, I don't know. That sounds like a potentially interesting situation if it's finessed properly. Just saying.
True, it can. And if we get another fucking Bloodline, fucking Survivor Series, War Games match, I'm not going to watch. I'm sorry. I'm so over this shit. I'm done. I'm so over it already. The Bloodline needs to go away.
I'm done with the Bloodline. I really am.
Well, again, Baron Corbin is your new Mr. Money in the Bank contract winner. Of course, again, his failed cash-in. Carmella would be successful cashing in on Charlotte Flair down the road, but Baron Corbin would not be successful. And he joins the likes of John Cena, who John Cena was an idiot when he won the contract, by the way, because he told the champion, I'm cashing in on you tonight, so be ready. I'm like, why would you do that? I mean, Are you such an uber babyface that you got to tell him when you're doing it?
Yes, that's exactly what that was. That's exactly the kind of baby face he was.
No.
And he's the only one who's ever done that, to my knowledge. Nobody else has ever actually legit challenged the champion. Like, oh, we're going to fight tonight. Cashing it in, just so you know. It's like,
just so you know, heads up.
There goes that element of surprise, but I guess he just didn't care about that. So,
you would think the number of times that Edge cashed in on Cena that he would probably want a little payback. It is what it is. But that being said, that'll conclude the review of Money in the Bank 2017. We're going to move on to our grade of the show. And again, we're not doing letter grades anymore. We're not in elementary school anymore. We're going to grade this on our beautiful AI-created Josh Zodiac Podcast championship reign, which will be sitting right in the middle of the two of us. That being said, 1 out of 5 championship belts. What do you rate this show? 1 out of 5.
Honestly, it wasn't the greatest show. A couple of matches didn't need to be on the card. It kind of came off as a waste of time. There wasn't really any match that just overly wowed me, so to speak. So can't really be generous here. I'm going to go 2.5 for the show.
Wow.
I've seen better.
I've seen worse.
Yeah, no, that's true. That's why it's not getting a 0.
WrestleMania 9, we're looking at you still.
Yeah, I can hear him crying. We're in the corner. WrestleMania 9 has been crying in the corner for months now.
WrestleMania 9 is the benchmark for shit. Like, if you look up the word shit in the dictionary, there's a picture of the freaking WrestleMania 9 logo. I guarantee it. It's funny. Great minds think alike, because this was not a great show, but it was not a shitty show. So I cut it right down the middle. I also gave it a 2.5. So with the Psycho Nerd giving it 2.5 and my sub giving it 2.5, it has a score of, hold on, let me grab my calculator, to divided by 3, carry the 1, square root of 17, 2.5. Simple math, right?
Oh, yeah, very simple, yeah.
So, 2.5 across the board. And again, this will conclude our review of Money in the Bank 2017. I am not sure what we're going to review next week. I'm waiting to hear back from Dara to see what we're going to do the following week. And I only do that because I don't want to watch 4 pay-per-views in a week. You know what I mean? No. It's not enough that I got to watch. No. I'm not complaining by any means. No complaints. No. But Monday night is Raw. Wednesday is Dynamite. Friday is SmackDown, and Saturday is Collision, which I have not watched yet. I'm going to watch that when we're done recording.
I need to catch up myself. I need to do that.
So there's 4 nights of wrestling, and then I have Star Trek, Strange New Worlds. The new season dropped, so I'm playing catch up on that.
Shit, I need to watch that show.
Because I'm such a fucking nerd, I got to go watch Sean Farrick at What Culture Trek and watch his ups and downs. Because I'm such a fucking nerd and want to know what everybody else thinks about the show. So, but at least, and I do watch Simon Miller. If I don't get to catch SmackDown, I do get to watch Simon Miller and get that warm feeling in my tum-tum. I don't give the finger of power. I don't do that. That's taken. I cannot replicate that because I don't want to be that guy.
Yeah.
So that being said, Psycho Nerd, promote your shit.
Well, you can feel free to find. So far, you can still only find my podcast on YouTube. That's going to change here in the near future, probably after Fantastic Fest. You can go to YouTube and look up Psycho Nerd, the Psycho Nerd, podcast, or you can just go to my YouTube channel, Repeat Movie Viewer. There are 3 new videos that are currently being edited and worked on as we speak, so expect there's going to be new content this next week.
Awesome sauce. Yeah. Where are your subs at sitting right now?
42, last I checked.
42. Let's get them up to 50, y'all. Again, it's free. Like, subscribe, follow. There are people who here on his YouTube page. And again, his link will be down below in the description box. I do want to promote first the Wrestling Rewind podcast that I do with my buddy Daryl Connor. We record every Friday. It drops I believe every Tuesday. I get the notification on Spotify. But that drops on YouTube as well as Spotify. This past week, we talked all SummerSlam. We didn't talk about anything else but SummerSlam. That's all we did.
Yeah.
And of course, my buddy Minx Monroe's, I've been saying her name wrong for the past couple of weeks, and I called myself on it, and she just kind of chuckled and was like, no, it's Monroe. She was totally cool about it. So she has an interview show on YouTube called Shooting the Breeze with Minx Monroe's. Give her a shout out, give her some love. Definitely she's got a lot to say. She does interview independent as well as TNA and AEW wrestling talent. Just ask them random questions. It's quite fun to watch, and they're not The interviews are like maybe 10, 20 minutes long. They're not very long. So give her some love. As for this show, the Real Zodiac Productions, we have, of course, this show, the Josh Zodiac Podcast, as well as the Real Movie Critics. This week on the Real Movie Critics, we'll be talking about a spoiler-filled review of Super Troopers 3. All three of us, myself, the Psycho Nerd, and Lord Scuba Cobber, were in the house in the same building at the same time. I think I read somewhere that's a sign of the apocalypse, but I could be wrong. But
well,
anywho,
that's the first time since Clerks 3. So
yeah, it's true. So again, Super Troopers 3 will be the movie we'll be reviewing this week on the Real Movie Critics. As for the Real Zodiac Productions, our YouTube page is currently sitting at 88. We had a nice uptick in the past week. So the number 100 is slowly getting closer to us. So again, if you're watching or listening to us on YouTube, give us a like, subscribe, follow, and hit that bell notification. We drop new episodes every week. I'm also dropping more content on both YouTube and my TikTok to help engage the fandom, try to get the name out there so we can get those subscriber numbers up there. But for the Psycho Nerd, I am the Josh Zodiac. This has been the Josh Zodiac Podcast. And that'll be the final bell for this episode. We broke down the matches, called out the surprises, and probably cut a few promos of our own along the way. Now, whether you agree with our takes or think we've just turned heel, let us know what you think in the comments. Also, don't forget to like, subscribe, follow, and share the podcast with your fellow members of the IWC. Until next time, kids, keep your shoulders off the mat, your finishers protected, and remember, on this podcast, the conversation never taps out. We'll catch you in the next episode. Good night, everybody.
Lights go down, the tension's rising high.